Hi everyone, this is Stan, your favorite Polish Taiwan YouTuber. Hope you're all having a great day. Welcome to today's show. Today, let's talk about the recent events related to Taiwan and Honduras relationships. Recently, Xiomara Castro, the president of the Republic of Honduras, which has official diplomatic relationships with Taiwan, wrote on her Twitter that she had instructed Foreign Minister Eduardo Reina to prepare for the establishment of diplomatic relationships with China. And yeah, it was very surprising for everyone, like a bolt from the blue. Normally, when a country establishes official relationships with another country, the other diplomatic allies usually don't interfere. However, since China joined the United Nations, it has always used a hardline approach to force countries that establish ties with it to cut ties with Taiwan, constantly using extremely aggressive means to jeopardize Taiwan's diplomacy, not letting Taiwan participate in international affairs as a nation, disregarding the rights of Taiwan's 23 million people. At the same time, I have also observed that some of the CCP resonators in Taiwan who are just acting as mouthpieces of the Chinese Communist Party, they not only don't condemn the CCP's bullying and interference in Taiwan's diplomacy, but instead they mock Taiwan's government the same way the CCP does. This is tantamount to the CCP and its sympathizers in Taiwan exerting political pressure and brainwashing propaganda on the Taiwanese people to make them submit to the CCP's rule. Well, Taiwan has always had a very friendly attitude towards its diplomatic allies, and since establishing diplomatic relationships with Honduras, the general perception of Taiwanese people among the Honduran citizens has been positive. The Taiwanese government has long provided various forms of economic and technological assistance to Honduras in the fields of healthcare, agriculture and education, while also supporting infrastructure and social development in the country. These forms of support have been recognized and appreciated by the Honduran people, and in general, people of Honduras have a very positive impression of Taiwan. However, since the Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP, concealed the outbreak of coronavirus, which led to a global crisis, and after Russia's invasion in Ukraine that caused a surge of energy prices, coupled with China's ridiculous pandemic prevention measures and wolf warrior diplomacy leading to the further US-China decoupling, of course, it led to the global inflation and shrinkage of economies, which of course also affected Honduras. Even more, Honduras has long suffered from a serious level of corruption as well as collusion between the government and the businesses. The country of Honduras knows a lot of cases when the public resources have been frequently exploited for personal gain of some of the corrupt politicians. Moreover, corruption scandals are also common during the election season in Honduras. This weakens the effectiveness of the Honduran government, and of course, because political elites control the legislative and judicial branches, it results in a lack of efficient supervision of corruption issues. These problems have led to a continuous widening of the wealth gap in the country, while the pressure from global inflation has also made the country's fiscal situation more challenging. Looking at all the aforementioned issues, for the Honduran politicians, the easiest and the quickest way to solve financial problems is to use the ongoing trade war and the overall rivalry between China and the United States for their benefit. We can see that Honduran office is trying to put pressure both on Taiwan and the US to get help for their struggling economy. This is a terrible diplomatic tactic, and Xiomara Castro even campaigned and won presidency by using this as one of her policies. She said that she was going to establish the diplomatic relationships with China if she wins the elections. China has always been good at using investment to lure economy weaker countries, at the same time establishing pro-China regimes through political donations and assisting instability maintenance. The investment and construction promises made by China in these countries often end up in stealing the resources, aka colonialism with Chinese characteristics, and the locals end up getting nothing and having their environments polluted, economies shattered, and politicians even more corrupted. I made a video on that topic before, making an example of Nicaragua and President Ortega. Once these economically struggling countries become dependent on China, China will use these economic cooperation projects to force the governments to comply with unreasonable cooperation conditions. And as the result, the general public rarely benefits from these projects, and instead they're used to make the corrupt politicians richer and the people struggle even more. Eventually, these countries become more corrupt and unfree. Authoritarian governments move towards totalitarianism, and their economies are on the verge of bankruptcy, as seen as countries like Sri Lanka, Venezuela, Iran, and Nicaragua. At the same time, China's own economic, societal, and political problems raise doubts amongst the people in the countries China is going to invest into, as to whether its promises can be fulfilled. I made multiple videos on the topic before. China's actual economic situation is in a state of gradual collapse, with low trade exports, high unemployment rates, and even queues of several months to repay bank loans early. People don't want to have mortgages anymore, but the banks want to force the people to keep their loans instead of repaying them at once. There is another interesting thing. Thousands of resumes are actually being received for positions with salaries below the legal minimum wage. In addition, China's China's Belt and Road Initiative has been experiencing a series of failed projects worldwide. So, considering China's methods of hollowing out the economies of other countries, I still hope that the president of Honduras, Xiomara Castro, can negotiate with the governments of the United States and Taiwan to find a feasible solution, and not let China drag Honduras into the abyss of credit, bankruptcy, and unfinished construction projects. And before the end of the video, let's listen to what Honduran people think about the possible end of the diplomatic relationship between Honduras and Taiwan.
All I can say is our position is very complicated. We can be the collateral damage of this relationship that Honduras and China can have it, so it's not fair for us.
But I see other people in Honduras too are okay. It's a good opportunity for Hondurans, and other people are thinking about the opportunity that we lose cutting relationship that we have with Taiwan.
Honestly, Hondurans have a divided point of view. Some people are in favor of this. They're like, yes, this is better for us because of our debt, our global debt. Some are thinking about the honor that Taiwan has brought to us by giving us education, by giving us some humanitarian help and other things that had aid us as people. But really, Hondurans' opinions in regards to this topic is very divided.
Which voice would you say is more influential, like for the time being? Like which voice is bigger?
Would depend where you go, because there are some news sources that can be biased as well. But if you want something objective, I would say that most people would be like 60%, I would say, against this happening.
But in Facebook and social media, I saw two types of reaction. Those who believe in more democratic governments, so they don't want to be associated with China. Those who are concerned about the scholarships, which is usually scholarship holders and their parents, and some negative opinions that say, oh yes, this is going to be good for Honduras, I support the government, and some bad opinions about the scholarship program.
So would you say it's like 50-50 against it and for it?
I could not give an accurate number, but it is certainly a divided opinion.
Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please press like, subscribe, and share. This is Dan. I see you in the next one. Bye bye.